Good morning everyone, and welcome to the Bloomz Art House. I'm Sammy, I'm one of the members of the Art House Collective, and today I'm going to be introducing a fellow member. It's Steve Brookes from Wacky. And but before I do that, I just wanted to say we've over this year we're going to be introducing each member of the collective to take over Instagram for a whole month. So you've already seen Stephanie Lester, the amazing fibre sculptor, and you've seen Julie Russell, who does the most beautiful encaustic wax paintings. Then we've taken 2 months off because we've been advertising our show, which we did last weekend, which was absolutely fabulous. And now we're back on track with Steve, who's going to be taking over our Bloomz Instagram and Facebook pages for the next month. So I'm going to invite Steve on now, and we'll have a chat with him. There we go. He's gonna.
Where are you, Steve? Should be coming shortly. So Steve is an
Oh, there we are. Good morning, Sammy.
Good morning to you.
How
are you this morning?
Fine. Have you recovered yet from the wonderful weekend?
Oh my goodness, wasn't it fabulous?
It
Absolutely fabulous weekend.
It was
Brilliant.
amazing. I mean, all the effort that you put in the social media and everything, and everybody else putting together, brought out a really fantastic show. I mean, we had lots of people that hadn't been before, and a lot of people were amazed that they could travel around the world from their armchair and see such amazing art. Those of you that didn't see it, you've got to wait 12 months to see it again.
Absolutely, yeah. We only do it once a year now, and it was so fabulous to have collectors coming, returning people that had been before. But even the ones that had been before, when they came this time, they said there was such a buzz and such a vibe about it, even though it was through their iPads and their laptops.
I think a lot of people, yeah, quite a lot of people can't quite understand the concept of being able to have an online art show, because in the past, what that has meant is just what I call flat art. You scrolling through pages of flat art, and that's not an online art show. That's just looking at art on a page. But what we show people is that you can have an in-person art show where you're actually visiting. This is what, and even I, after doing it 4 or 5 times, still wow at the concept. You can actually be in your room, and then you can visit Cindy in Australia, you can visit Katerina in Switzerland, Linda in New Zealand, Elisa in Italy, and you're there with them live in their studio, and they take a piece of art off the wall and show you. There may be, Cindy's often painting in Australia. Where else can you get that sort of engagement, that sort of experience? You can't. The Bloomz are the only group that do this anywhere in the world.
Absolutely. Or Steph's saying there's a bit of feedback.
Oh, is there a bit of feedback from who, Steph? Is it from me or from Sammy? I think it could be from me. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm sounding okay. I'm sure Steph will come in and tell me what the problem is.
Yeah.
It's slightly. Remember when I very first did it, and there's that bit of feedback.
Oh yeah.
It's like that.
So I don't know how we can. Yeah, but then. Oh yeah, I'm not sure whether I can connect them up to this.
Oh.
Go and get them for me. Yeah, we're going to try putting my headphones on.
Okay.
You might lose me from visuals for a minute while I connect them up to the phone, but we'll see if that works. So just keep telling everybody about what the Bloomz are doing in September, some sort of idea about what we're doing, and I'll
absolutely.
This.
All right, no worries. So as Steve said, we had the most amazing art show last weekend. It was over 3 shows over 2 days from artists all around the world, and it was absolutely fabulous. And what we will be doing is later in the year, in September, we're going to be doing something very special just with the Bloomz, and we won't be having any guest artists. It will just be the Bloomz core artists, and we'll be doing something very special on YouTube. but I'm not going to give too much of that away because we want to keep it a little bit of a surprise for you. So Steve was, he's the creator behind Wacky Lamps. He's been, has a number of different talents. So horticulture, television, publishing. But what I want to know, Steve, is how did you get into creating lamps the way you create them?
Well, it was a sort of an evolution, really, because I didn't just say one day, I'm going to create a lamp and do one of the lamps you can see behind me. It started really because I don't like being in Steph's shadow, really. That's difficult sometimes because she produces the most amazing 3D fiber sculpture. And we were doing craft events with her early pieces about 3 years ago, just before the lockdown. And we wanted some way of lighting up the pieces on her stand. And normal sort of spotlights can be a little bit clinical. So I've always liked to tinker in the workshop and everything. Never thought myself a crafter or an artist or anything. But because I suppose my design concept comes from my 40-odd years as a landscape designer. So I've always got solutions to problems going on in my head. And it was really always, the problems would have been how to design someone's garden so it looked right. And the idea was to try and design Steph's stand so it looked different. And we achieved this by me making some book lights and a couple of bottle lights. Nothing to do with pipes at the time. And then at the end of the show, somebody wanted to buy these lights off us. And I thought, that's nice, you know, maybe I could make a few more to sell. And then I discovered I think it was on Pinterest or something, that somebody, I think it was in America or Russia, something like that, had started to use or was using pipe work to make abstract sort of lights. And I thought, oh, that's interesting, because over here in the UK, we do have access to the galvanized iron pipe fittings, because we've got historic houses, we've got National Trust, British Heritage, and all the work they do on the pipe work of those listed buildings has to be done with the original type of materials. So I soon found that, yeah, we can get hold of all these pipe fittings of different sizes, and I started to make some abstracted pipes. And then gradually, and I don't know how it happened, gradually I began to realize that a certain pipe fitting wasn't like an elbow, as in a pipe elbow. It could be someone's head, or it could be a knee, or it could be a shoulder. And then you just it evolved gradually, started to play about with making things that look like people or animals out of lamps. And they were quite rudimentary to start with. They weren't sort of anywhere near as involved as the ones that I have now. They were really very rudimentary. But I always strive for a bit more perfection. I'm a bit of a pedantic person when it comes to doing things. And, you know, words that don't appear in my lexicon, like that should be all right, that doesn't, or that'll do, that doesn't appear in my, things have to be as good as I can get them. So gradually then, over the next year or so, and specifically as lockdown came in, I started to hone my skill, I suppose you'd call it, to make these lamps not just look like people, but look like people doing things. Then it moved on to look like actual people that had existed or do exist today, by adding little touches. So you can see behind me Jimi Hendrix over in the corner there. That's one of my latest ones. But then it sort of got to the stage where I was doing commissions, because I do commissions. And people were sending me photographs. Could you do this particular person in this stance? And it's a challenge, but it's a challenge that I love. So now, and it was only just over 12 months ago that I started to call myself an artist, because these are now art-led pieces. They are at a standard I hope that can be classed as art. And so that's how it's gone. And it's got to the stage now where nothing is really out of the question.
Has the involvement of your pieces and the way you're able to manipulate them, is that because you have been able to source new materials to enable you to do that, or have you had to make bits yourself to do that?
Not with the basic body of the lamp. I like to keep it true to the materials that are available. But I'm always finding new materials that weren't new pieces that weren't originally meant to do what I'm doing. The recent addition was the little elbow joints, the round ball joints, which are from angle poised lamps that you can adjust the position of the head of the lamp. So it's a little tiny, you undo a screw and you can adjust it. And I realized when I saw those on a website, I thought, those are my knees and elbows. Because up until that point, I'd got three choices. I've got a straight arm or leg, I've got a 90-degree arm or leg, or a 45-degree arm or leg. Because those were the only pipe fittings available. And so when I found these joints, these little adjustable ball joints, I've got 20 different degrees of use then.
Yeah.
But the problem with those is that you can't get three wires through them. Your live, your earth, and your neutral. But that was okay because by that time I'd moved over to what I call my magical touch sensor lamp switches. So any lamp that has got a wooden base like these behind me here, I can include a touch sensor switch in the base, which means that the earth is you. You're the earth when you touch the lamp. So I only have to have 2 wires going through. So that then meant that I could use these little joints, and that was the next stage in the evolution of my pieces. But all of the pieces of these lamps, the guitars that you see on the musical lamps, they're all available. The old rockers guitars for all the major rock stars that are around today or lived in the past. There's 2 or 3 companies that make exact replicas of their guitars. And, just by good fortune, they happen to be the exact size for my lamps. I didn't adjust the size of the lamp to suit the guitar. The guitar just happened to be the perfect size for the lamp. So the little accoutrements, little add-on design bits to try and indicate who it is. So not only the guitar indicates Hendrix, but the headband, the bandana, that sort of thing. And when I did Slash with his top hat, but that was made from metal pipe fittings as well. The only time I do sort of collaborate is with Steph if I need anything made of felt. So Gandalf's felt cloak, she stitched that up for me. I actually made it, and his hat, you can see his hat there. I made it myself, but my sewing skills are not very good. So Steph does the final bit of sewing for me. But no, they're all pipe fittings.
Your pieces are becoming more and more detailed and more intricate. I was just looking at this big spider.
Oh yes.
Behind you.
Yeah.
It's stunning.
That was probably the most ambitious and difficult piece that I've done. Even more difficult than the first one I did, which was the Easy Rider motorbike way back. Because to try and get the spider so that if I give him a touch now, you'll see that if I touch it with my elbow, you can see he goes on and off. But he works through the little hobbit there. But you've got, not only have you got the light in the hobbit's hand, you've got the 4 lights in the spider's face, and you've got the spider's abdomen there, which is glowing. So the wiring in that is like Spaghetti Junction, which for those of you that aren't in this country is an awful road just outside Birmingham.
Right, so Steve, you're going to be taking over our Bloomz Instagram page.
Yes.
What can we expect over this coming 4 weeks from you?
Well, just when I thought I was going to have a rest after the Bloomz show, we're straight into Artist of the Month, which is absolutely exciting. I'm not just saying that, but it's exciting because it gives me the chance then to really go back and tell people how it started and take people through my process. So what you can expect over the next 4 weeks, and I've been thinking about how to do this, and I thought we've got 4 weeks, and I can really put my lamps into 4 genres, 4 themes. And that is love and relaxation, because I do a lot of lamps with heart-shaped bulbs, and my yoga lamps and lamps for Valentine's Day anniversaries. So that will be this week we are now. It'll be my love and relaxation week. Then we go into sport. So I do a lot of lamps that are related to sport. So the following week we'll have sport-related lamps, which will be footballers, weightlifters, that sort of thing. And then we go into music. So I'll be showing all my musical lamps and talking about how I go about producing a new musical lamp. If somebody wants to commission me to do a musical lamp, what the process would be. And the last week will be fantasy. So it will be things like the Lord of the Rings, the Pegasus, Iron Man, things I've done in a fantasy world, and all those things. So I think it fits nicely into the 4 weeks. But during those 4 weeks, not only will you be seeing the lamps that I have produced, I'm going to be doing a new lamp from scratch starting tomorrow. I'm doing a live every Wednesday on the Bloomz page here, a live every Wednesday, and we will start tomorrow. We'll be looking at my workshop, seeing the tools that I use, all the bits that are available, and I even amaze myself at what I need around me. But it's also, and you'll appreciate this, Sammy, it's also showing what a comfortable workspace should be for an artist. You have to have the things around you. It doesn't have to be tidy. It has to be what you're comfortable with. So that when you go into your workspace, you're in the best frame of mind. So for me, it's probably a bar of chocolate somewhere near. It's the radio or Alexa there that can give me an audio book that I want, depending what it can be. Everything's got to be at the right place. And then we'll be starting to build a lamp from scratch. And over the 4 weeks, you'll see that lamp develop. And at the end of the 4 weeks, we will have a lamp. I'll do a little bit each Wednesday. I'm not going to tell you what the lamp is, but it'll just be something that's not too complicated, because sometimes it can take me quite a time. So I'll keep it simple. But in doing that, you'll be able to see all the stages in my process and any cock-ups, because it'll be warts and all. If something goes wrong, it goes wrong. I'm not going to cover it up. If it goes wrong on a live, it goes wrong. But I'll cut out the expletives.
So that's every Wednesday at 5 on our Bloomz page. It's going to be Make Day.
Because don't forget, I also do a live on my own page on a Sunday.
I'm going to come to that. I'm going to come to that. The cheeky fellow. This is what you have to put up with when you go to see Steve in his on his own page. He can be a bit cheeky.
Yeah.
Right, so we have got.
All I've got to say to you, Sammy, is anagrams, really.
Enough said about that, the better. So over next month, we're going to be seeing Steve doing an amazing make all the way through. We're going to, like you said, looking at all the different genres of his lamps. And I mean, the thing is, Steve, you are so interesting when you are on your show. So your show is on Sunday at 5 o'clock every Sunday. Sometimes you have guests. Sometimes you don't, and you're doing a live make. Sometimes you're taking questions. But what I love about your show is that you are so generous with your viewers in telling them what you're doing, where you get your materials from, how to do things. And nothing's ever a secret. You're there and you're happy to share.
Yeah, I can't see the point in saying I'm not going to tell you where I get this from, because I don't want you doing the same thing. I will encourage people to go out and try and be creative. We've all got a creative gene in us, but we just haven't developed it. And if that means that somebody goes and tries to do a lamp the same as mine, good luck to them. They're not one of my customers. So why don't I encourage them to find their creative spirit within them and use it? I'll happily, and I've had conversations off air with people that have been trying to make a tap into a switch, and I just love the fact that they're having a go. I think that's so important, because art in general and creativity is a huge boost for mental health. It does amazing things in mental health, because you get the endorphins going when you've completed a piece. Even if you haven't got mental health issue, you still get that wonderful feeling. But for somebody that's struggling to be able to produce something, and if they're struggling and nobody will give them any help with it, then it's compounding their problem. But I don't see anybody as competition for what I do. We all do. There are other people that do lamps from pipes. I don't know anybody that does anything to the detail that I do, because they probably haven't got the patience that I've got. But if they do, fine, and I'll talk somebody through how to make a guitarist lamp if they want, because there's billions of people in the world, so there's going to be somebody somewhere that does something similar to you. And let's be honest, you know, we all need to be sharing our love of art in all its different genres. I know you're the same, Sammy. You'll talk about your art.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just think all of us within the Bloomz, we do want to share how we create our work, because I think that then gives our viewers, our collectors, our buyers a better understanding of the amount of effort, the amount of joy, the amount of love, the amount of patience that goes into that piece. But also we want to get, like you say, we want to get more people becoming more creative, because that is a huge part of our brains that is left untouched, because at school it's academic and academia all the way. You know, you have your art lessons, you have your music lessons, but actually they're very rarely channeled to that person. You know, it's just a broad brush, and then you decide what you want to do. But as adults, and like you said, especially with lockdown, more people were creating, whether it was art, whether it was baking, whether it was writing, whether it was photography. And that's what we need to encourage to continue. Now we're out of lockdown and we're sort of coming back to normal.
I think you're dead right there. Sorry, I was saying, just to go back on things that you said there about creating, the words you used were spot on. The joy, the effort you put in, the creativity, all those words, and the joy at producing something. But at school, often art lessons, you were learning a lot about the history of art. And same in music, you learn about composers. You weren't actually doing much. I can't remember making much music at school or drawing and painting much. It was all the theory side of it, I think. And no, I think now lockdown, for all the negative side of it, there have been lots of positives, and that's been that people, as you said, have been finding their creative skills.
So over the rest of this year, are your viewers, are your collectors going to actually be able to meet you in person at some point?
Well, I hope so. My door's always open here if they want to pop to Stratford and see us. But no, we've got shows on the end of the year. We're due to be moving house at some point, but we don't know when. But certainly September, there's the the Contemporary Arts Fair at Sandown, Esher in Sandown Park Racecourse. That's in September. We've also got also in September, I think it is, the Milton Keynes MK Handmade and Vintage show that we do every year. And then there's another one, I think, and I can't remember what it is. There's another one later on in the year, I think. Oh, it's probably the MK one again, the MK Christmas one. Yes, there's the MK one in September, there's the MK one at Christmas, which is in the end of November, beginning of December. So those are the 3 times this year you'll be able to come and see me. And as you know, I love to chat a bit. So you come and see me at the show, even if you're not. And this is what I find, this is my bugbear at shows. When you speak to somebody at a show, an artist at a show, and they know, probably within the first couple of minutes, you're not going to buy a piece. Often a lot of people, the store holders, will then sort of want to stop talking to them, will sort of not brush them off, but you know, you get the feeling when I go walk around a show and people know I'm another artist, I'm another store holder, it's not, oh, okay, you're not going to buy from me then. Artists buy from artists.
Absolutely.
Artists buy from artists. We've got a piece of yours. Wonderful.
You have.
I bought Steph for Christmas.
I have a piece of yours.
Yes, you do. You have one of my bell sets. But also, I will talk to people on the stand, even if they're not going to buy from me, because then they will go away thinking, oh, that was nice. They'll tell their friends. Their friends might be somebody who wants a lamp, or they might tell their friends. They'll take away my little brochure. And so it's not all about instant sales. With what we do, I mean, the Bloomz show, for instance, wasn't about selling at all. It was about making art free to everyone to look at, enjoy, discover. If there were any sales, they come later on, that's a bonus. But that is what is so unusual about the Bloomz group, is that we're not all about sell, sell, sell. And these days, people get a bit, oh, are they going to try and sell to me? No. We're going to get you interested in art. We get you really joyous about art and really excited about abstract art, wax art, whatever. And then later on, you might decide to buy a piece, but you know, or you'll tell your friends.
Just one last thing. You seem to have your followers have exploded over Instagram at the moment. Is that due to you being such a personable guy, or is it what you're creating is becoming more and more, like we said before, more and more intricate, but also the way you're sharing your work with other people?
It's definitely a combination. I mean, Instagram and any of the social media platforms are a real minefield, and you have to really get under the skin of what they're about. So I think the first thing I would say about anybody wanting to promote things on Instagram or any of the social media platforms is be on there yourself at some point. Somewhere on your feed, people have got to see a picture of you. People like to see the artist, the person behind the work. Now, not everybody is up to doing lives. Not everybody is up to talking to the camera or even being interviewed. But at least have yourself standing next to your work. Have your face in there somewhere. Now, I've got the good fortune that I had years, and I was broadcasting for years. So I'm used to being behind a in front of a camera, in front of a microphone. But not everybody's like that. As you said earlier on, I interview people on my Sunday show. So I can always interview people. So be on your social media feed, be visible. Use all of the different items available. Use the grid, use reels, use stories, and be inventive. Try different things. And then we come down to the thing that nobody seems to get right, which was hashtags. It's the use of hashtags. Now, there's been loads of schools of thought on this, but one of the main reasons that I have pushed my Instagram followers up from this time last year, I suppose I was maybe 600. I'm now getting on for 7,000. And the reason I've done that is by the strategic use of hashtags, not using ones that have got millions and millions of people posting to it, because your post then is there for a microsecond. Use some popular ones, some middle ones, and some niche ones. Only you can tell. But it's being engaging all the time, answering comments. Don't just answer a comment with a little heart. The Instagram algorithm doesn't see that at all. Just a thank you, or that's very kind of you. Takes a bit of time. And if I've had like 100 comments on a particular post, I can be sat in bed saying thank you. But I think it's very important to engage with your followers. Engage with your followers whatever way you can. Be open, be honest, be yourself. Don't hide behind a persona that isn't you. And the same when you write captions in your posts. Be you. Don't try and be philosophical if it's not you. Don't try and be, all eloquent if it's not you. If you're a person of few words, then that's what your caption will be. Don't try and be someone you're not, because you'll be people will see through you. And I'm see. I mean, you know me. I'm the same on camera or off. And Steph said, I remember when she had more followers than me. She did. She was the first to get to 500. It was like this. But she's more faithful still. I
like it how actually you come back and you answer questions. And a lot of people on Instagram, they don't answer the questions. I've left questions on other people's sites. And after a while, you sort of think, well, if they're not going to engage with me, I'm going to come off. So I do like that. And that's what we'll do on the Bloomz. We will answer questions.
Yes,
so if anyone has any questions after you've done a live or you've done a post, you will go back and answer those questions.
Absolutely. They'll all be answered. And if somebody wants to converse with me separately by DM message, that's fine. I'll do that. I think if you're going to be on social media, you've got to be social. That's what the whole thing is. You can't have your cake. You can't have the followers and not put the work in. And I love social media now. I would never have been this involved had it not been for lockdown, because we were doing like 12 shows a year, and of course all those stopped. It forced us to go to social media. but it's opened up a whole new world, metaphorically and physically, to me.
Absolutely.
I've got friends here now from Iran, I can see in everywhere.
I think, you know, like you said before, there's been an awful lot of negatives because of lockdown, but there have been positives. And you and I probably would never have met if it hadn't have been for lockdown.
No.
So I'm grateful for that and for the Bloomz girls, because I would have never have met Cindy in Australia,
No.
or any of the girls. So, you know, there are things that I'm very grateful for. Steve, we've come to the end of our half hour.
Have we really? Oh, blimey.
We have indeed. So we will see you again tomorrow at 5 for your live.
Yeah, that's right.
We will see you throughout the month.
Absolutely.
If anyone has any questions, they can just drop them in the comments and you or I will get back to them. So that isn't an issue. We look forward to your month, and I will interview you again at the end of the month just to see how you got on.
Brilliant. I'm looking forward to it, Sammy. Thanks for all the good work you do on the Bloomz as well. You look after us
No
amazingly
worries.
on social media. And yep, I'm all ready to go. So it's love and relaxation week this week. Love and relaxation. So let's get the love out there.
Share the love.
Share the love. Share the relaxation.
All right, Steve. I'm going to turn it off now.
Have I got to flick myself off here?
You got to flick yourself off, fella. Sorry, can't do that.
See you all tomorrow. Thanks, Sammy. Take care.
See you later. Okay, so that was Steve, the creator of Wacky Lamps, who will be here every day this month. And like Steve said, he'll be live every Wednesday at 5. But you can also catch his Sunday show, which is at 5 every Sunday. Like he said, he sometimes has guests. He's doing a make, but he's always there. So at 5 o'clock on a Sunday evening, if you're sitting on your own or you just want a bit of company, turn him on, because not only will he be able to show you what he's creating, but he will make you laugh. So I'm looking forward to this month. I think it's going to be brilliant. So please follow us so you get the notification when Steve's coming on or doing any of his posts. And I will see you at the end of the month when I'm catching up with Steve again. See you later. Bye-bye.